Welcome. My name is Lors Rumba-Schmidt, and I work in the Office of Community Air Protection, or OCAP. Thank you for the opportunity to give you information on the Community Air Protection Program's 2021 Community Recommendation and Selection process. Today, I'm going to go through a brief overview of the program, the general recommendation process, and the timeline for this year. First, I'm going to provide a high-level background of the Community Air Protection Program, also known as AB 617. I'm going to go through the key AB 617 requirements. When the legislation was passed, it was referred to as a one-of-a-kind legislation, authored by Assemblyperson Cristina Garcia in 2017. It has several elements to help communities hardest hit by air pollution. First, for selected communities, depending on the action, the community was required to develop a community-specific plan outlining community-level actions to reduce emissions and exposure. These plans are known as Community Emission Reduction Plans, or CERPs. Another plan that may be required is establishing a local-level monitoring system to better understand the air pollution issues and sources within a community. These plans are known as Community Air Monitoring Plans, or CAMPs. The AB 617 also requires accelerating the retrofit of air pollution controls on industrial facilities located in communities, known as Accelerated Best Available Retrofit Control Technologies, or BARCT. AB 617 provides a funding mechanism to community-based organizations in the AIR Grants program. Examples of these grants are used for environmental outreach, education, or air monitoring in the community. And lastly, it increases the penalty amount incurred by facilities that violate regulations. This slide shows the 15 communities in the program. These communities are in various stages of planning, developing, and implementing plans. These communities represent a diverse group of areas. The communities vary in geographic size, population density, and air pollution concerns. Community steering committees have been formed in each one of the 15 communities, with over 450 local stakeholders participating throughout the state. This board has approved all 7 community emission reduction programs for the 2018 communities and is in the process of considering the 2019 communities. The Southeast Los Angeles and Stockton communities have been approved by the CARB Board. The Eastern Coachella Valley community emission reduction plan will be considered in September, and the San Diego Portside Community Emission Reduction Plan will be considered in October. There are hundreds of communities recommended. This map shows all of the communities nominated by the public and the Air District. These communities are heavily impacted by air pollution. All of them need a focused effort to help reduce their exposure and reduce air pollution. Since the program inception, CARB receives community nominations through self-nominations or Air District nominations. Self-nominations can be submitted at any time. We also accept community nominations on an ongoing basis. The list of these communities are on our website. As in prior years, we encourage community members to work with their local Air District to develop recommendations. To fulfill the board's direction in 2019, CARB staff developed a list of communities strongly supported. I will share this list later in the presentation. This list was a way to recognize the communities that have strong support by the community and the Air District. In our board meeting this last February on community recommendations, we heard the concern about the competitive nature of the selection process. This comment has been heard repeatedly over the years and has never been our intent. However, with limited resources and the tremendous need that continues to be a program challenge, This year, we want to begin looking at opportunities to help reduce air emissions and air pollution exposure in communities not selected. We are also looking into how we can consider equity in the overall program. This slide summarizes the considerations for the community recommendations as the program has evolved. This slide lists the main factors considered since the beginning of the program. The main thing you'll notice is how each year's considerations builds off the prior year's considerations. In 2018, the initial year of the program, factors driving the community recommendations include exposure to air pollution, sensitive populations, and other measures of vulnerability to assess the cumulative air pollution burden in each community. Additional considerations include regional diversity and a variety of sources. In 2019, the board's direction was to prioritize monitoring communities to emission reduction programs, provided it is supported by data and the Community Steering Committee. In addition, prior to new communities being selected, staff must consider the need to continue efforts in selected communities before selecting additional communities, recognizing there is still a resource need to implement the programs. In 2020, the board directed staff to develop the list of communities that have strong support by either the community or the air district for selection in upcoming years. This year, in addition to all the considerations I just mentioned, we need to begin looking for opportunities to help other burdened communities not selected. This is the list of communities strongly supported. This list acknowledges the communities that have been recommended but not selected and have been supported by the community or air district. This list hasn't changed since it was released in June of 2020, with the exception of the selected communities being removed. I want to stress that this list is not exhaustive and additional communities may be added. It's a tool to summarize what we've heard as communities strongly supported to date. The list is organized first by selected monitoring communities that the board asked staff to prioritize in 2019. Currently, that would be South Sacramento, Florin. Then the list is followed by communities from each air district, where the air districts are in alphabetical order. So what can we expect this year? This slide highlights the 2021 timeline for the process for developing new community recommendations. What is a little different this year is that we are recording this kickoff webinar for the community recommendation process. We have also asked air districts to inform us of their community recommendations by October 29, 2021. If they have already provided a nomination for the community, the air district does not need to resubmit the information unless there is new information they want to share. They should, however, send a letter to reiterate their interest in putting the community forward for action. In the fall, we plan to hold a virtual meeting and plan to present our initial thoughts for the new 2021 communities. Following the meeting, CARB plans to release the 2021 Community Recommendation Staff Report. This is expected in early 2022. The staff report details the communities being recommended for our board meeting on February 10, 2022. I also want to provide you an update on the 2021 Community Air Grants. The Air Grant Program provides support for community-based organizations to participate in the AB 617 process and to build capacity to become active partners with government to identify, evaluate, and ultimately reduce air pollution and exposure to harmful emissions in their community. Examples of what community air grants are being used for include community engagement and outreach related to AB 617, hiring consultants or technical experts, travel and logistical support for hosting and or attending meetings related to AB 617, support for community-operated air monitoring, data collection and analysis, including community-based participatory research projects. Currently, the request for applications is open. It was opened on July 2nd, 2021, and will be open until October 1st, 2021 at 5 p.m. To date, about $15 million has been awarded to about 50 projects. The total amount of funding for this year is $10 million in 3 categories that will be split among 3 categories: education, targeted projects, and technical projects. More information on air grants, as well as the current request for applications, can be found on the link on this slide. Now I'd like to take a moment to provide information on an update to one of our tools that we've developed for the program. As part of the statewide assessment of cumulative impacts to communities, CARB developed a table of metrics to quantify the exposure burden in communities. This was initially released in 2018 and is meant to be used to complement a more detailed local assessment of the community. In July 2021, CARB staff posted an update to the table of metrics, version 2.0, which includes the draft CalEnviroScreen 4.0 data and other data source updates, such as the California Healthy Places Index and the cancer risk and cancer burden layers. You can find more information about this update on our website. The link also is posted in this slide. If you have specific questions on the committee recommendation and selection process, you can contact me at the information listed on this slide. My number is 951-542-3436, and my email is laura.zschmidt@arb.ca.gov. For general program information, you can go to our program website. The link is listed here on this slide, along with our general program email, communityair@arb.ca.gov. I have also listed a program email for broader CARB information where you can access notifications on specific programs through our GovDelivery subscription service. So the link on this slide, the last link, will take you to that information. Thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call or email me.